Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR365.com and podweather.com with an early morning update on Hurricane Gustav. As of 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Gustav was at 17.2 north, 71.9 west, with winds of 85 miles an hour gusting to 105. It's already a potent Category 1 hurricane, and the winds very well could be stronger than that based on what Recon found. It's moving northwest at a slower 9 miles an hour. 984 millibars, but that pressure's been hovering 982, 983. Clearly it's in a organizing, strengthening trend over the last few hours. Now, the official 5 a.m. track and intensity from the Hurricane Center is for it to become a Category 2 hurricane later this morning and early afternoon and make landfall in Haiti as a Category 2 hurricane about 100 miles an hour or so. It will weaken as it approaches and moves over Haiti to a Category 1 hurricane, and then by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday be moving south of Cuba and have all the water and favorability to strengthen as a ridge of high pressure, that clockwise flow builds to the north of it, pushing it on off towards the west, and it is forecast to be an extremely dangerous major hurricane. At this point, a Category 3, but again, based on some of the model guidance and the environment Gustav's going to run into, that may be very conservative at this point. And the track as well could be as far north as scraping the north coast of Cuba, heading towards South Florida, then the Florida Panhandle, or as far south as getting a hard western turn towards Chetumal, Mexico, and the areas hit so hard last year by Category 5 Hurricane Dean. Right now it appears something in the middle of that, northwest, then a bend west, and then rather west-northwest, which might take it right near the Yucatan Channel, Cancun, western Cuba, in that path as well. You're going to have to watch that very carefully. The current wind radii with this system, you can see hurricane force winds are right there around the eye, and the tropical storm force winds are just beginning to impact southern areas of the Dominican Republic. We do have hurricane warnings, of course, out for Haiti, and the areas of hurricane watch are for eastern Cuba and Jamaica, but Jamaica and eastern Cuba, you guys are going to see a hurricane warning pretty soon, I'd reckon. Now, looking at the latest infrared satellite imagery this morning, again, the eye of the hurricane is embedded under this area, and although it kind of looks, if you look at this, like it's moving straight into Hispaniola, the motion is actually right on track with the hurricane center towards the landfall and then a gradual westward bend. So, based on what we see this morning, Gustav should be making that landfall later this afternoon and then be on track to go between Jamaica and Cuba as an intensifying hurricane. But again, if an eye pops out here, this could be even stronger than 100 miles an hour before it gets to Haiti. It's all a matter of how fast this inner core gets going. And right now it does have that inner core, and that is why we're dealing with such an intense Category 1 hurricane at this point. Now here's the latest on the water vapor blood imagery, as I like to call it, because of these red colors here. And again, the eye of the hurricane is embedded in here. Tiny hurricane, but again, potent, and it's only going to get stronger through time as it heads in this general direction. You can see the last 12 hours or so, the infrared. Again, that shows better the motion, how it is right on track towards the northwest, which means Haiti, and then potentially eastern Cuba, Jamaica, feeling the impact as Gustav passes in between those two areas there. Here's the further look in IR, and you can see there, look at these purples blown up right there. That is very favorable, and that's going to wrap all the way around, and we'll probably see the eye pop out, which is why this could already be approaching Cat 2 strength as I speak to you now. Now here's the model guidance track, and you can see again the no gaps is now fallen in line with taking this thing westward, generally into the Gulf. The GFDL and HWRF models take it into the Gulf. The Canadian model hasn't been running too good with it, but you can see the BAMs in here, and even the GFS now towards the Yucatan. UK Met takes it way out into the Bay of Campeche. So the models, even though the motion is currently northwest, they're all agreeing on that hard left turn south of Cuba, and because it's happening south of Cuba, it will be over the hot boiling waters of the Northwest Caribbean Sea in very favorable upper level conditions for several days. Now, the NAM model, and keep in mind, this is the 0Z NAM. This is the problem we have with some of these models. It shows Hurricane Gustav in 6 hours as this patch of green. Now, in contrast, here's the remnant of phase showing up as a low pressure of 1,004 millibars. You see, so our hurricane isn't even showing up as good as our former tropical depression. So again, we do have those resolution problems sometimes with these models. Now here's the HWRF model on Gustav, and this was the 0Z, and you can see it takes it down to 902 millibars and about 175 miles an hour. That would be a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane entering the Gulf of Mexico in about 5 days or so. Maybe a bit slow, but we'll see how that pans out. The GFDL model is also showing a catastrophic 180 mile an hour hurricane with 916 millibar pressure heading into the Gulf of Mexico, and from there, even though it weakens somewhat to a borderline Category 4 and 5, it continues that motion in the general direction in 5 days of the Louisiana-Texas Gulf Coast as a catastrophic hurricane. Now, the no-gaps model, as I mentioned, has fallen in line and also shows very intense Hurricane Gustav north of the Yucatan, generally moving towards the central northwest Gulf Coast. Now, here's the problem we have with intensity. You can see these low wind shear values. This goes all the way into the future track of Gustav. Gustav has nothing wind shear-wise to inhibit it. It's got favorable wind shear all the way through the Western Caribbean until at least the Gulf of Mexico, and even in that longer range from what it seems like, Gustav will have a pretty good environment there as well. You can see the very favorable high pressure. This is a very large high pressure anticyclone. You know, we have our cyclones here that move counterclockwise. High pressure moves clockwise, so it's anti-cyclone, that's what we call it. And the anticyclone is going to be established right over Gustav. Gustav's going to pool along over the warm water, won't have any problem deepening into a major hurricane. So in the final analysis, Hurricane Gustav is sitting here south of the Dominican Republic. It's right on track, that northwest motion towards Haiti. It should make landfall in Haiti as a hurricane, probably a very powerful hurricane, about 100 miles an hour at least, if it's not 100 miles an hour already, sometime today, Tuesday afternoon, and then move across, weaken a little bit potentially, and then come right back out and spend a good 3 to 5 days over the Northwest Caribbean with the chances of becoming a very extremely dangerous major hurricane for either the Yucatan, Western Cuba, or just generally towards the Yucatan Channel. If you're in Jamaica and Southeast Cuba, watch it. You're under hurricane watches. And if you're in the United States and even the Mexican coastline here of Old Mexico and the United States, especially areas from Mississippi on westward, you need to be keeping a very close eye on Hurricane Gustav. Now, as far as Internet Partnership Radio, IPR365.com, what you can get there is streaming audio coverage when Gustav starts to inhibit the land masses, especially when watches of mornings go up in the United States, which for this storm is very likely they will. We'll have streaming audio coverage, preparedness information, official information on the hurricane, always the official from the National Hurricane Center, as well as links to our virtual studio where you could join us. And podweather.com, these video update podcasts, not just my tropical updates here, but also Michael Moss does the Moss Hunt Stormcast, and again, those are very helpful, and many other podcasts as well, links to the official information, as well as links to our streaming coverage. So we are set for Hurricane Gustav, but you guys need to be too, especially if you're in areas of Jamaica, Haiti, Southeast Cuba, Yucatan, Western Cuba, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Old Mexico. A lot of areas this hurricane can impact. You're going to want to stay tuned.